In part 2, I'm instructed in basic firearm safety rules, how to load and unload a pistol, and you get to see me try 3 different size handguns. Now, my Instructor 6 watcher wants to put a disclaimer that Gnomes series is not meant to replace or substitute your training session with a certified firearms instructor. What we can do is demonstrate the common mistakes that first-timers such as myself make, and I made plenty, as you're about to see. There are 2 mistakes, and I don't think I should really call them mistakes. They're more like hazards, actually, that I want to highlight. One is the trigger finger. I want you to note the number of times I failed to keep this off the trigger and look on 6 Watcher's face. And the other one, which is more scary, is instead of pointing downrange, note the number of times my barrel was veering towards and almost pointed at 6 Watcher as I'm turning to speak with him, or I'm struggling to rack the slide on the pistol. So those are the 2 hazards, and there are other rules to be mindful of that I think that if you become more disciplined in, you'll be more confident and competent in class and at range. And speaking of range, at the time of this recording, we have been at range already, and we recorded that session. And I have to say that this session with 6 Watcher really helped prepare me and made me feel comfortable and feel competent around firing live rounds. And you see that in the following episode to this. So I would encourage you to watch the entirety of this episode if you are if you're new to guns. And again, it's not meant to be instructional, than it is more observational of what not to do, so you know what to do in class and at range. Much thanks to 6 Watcher. I appreciate his patience with me. And without much further ado, here is part 2 of episode 1. I just want to introduce our...
We don't have names for them, so put the names in the comments. What do you suggest we name our gnomes?
Yes, because they are going to make sure that we are in full compliance.
That's right.
Follow protocols and our safety compliance here. So yes, put the what you think their name should be. So let's get me started.
So what I've got here is an assortment of 3 different sizes of handguns. And the reason that's important is there are pros and cons to each. And when you're choosing a concealed carry weapon, you're going to be making a series of trade-offs. You're going to be choosing between capacity and comfort. You're going to be choosing between recoil management, the ability to control the gun, and the ability to aim the gun better, and the ability to have more mass, less mass, right? There's a whole range of pros and cons to these. So I'm going to start at the top and move down. This is what they call a compact gun. It happens to be an M&P shield. No, it's not a shield. It's an M&P 9mm regular police duty gun.
This is what cops carry around?
There's a lot of cops that would carry a gun like that. They might carry a Glock 19 or 6 Hour, but this is in that category. It's about a 4 1/4 inch barrel, and it's got a 17 round capacity in the magazine. Now you notice here, this one has 23 rounds. This one has 40 rounds. You can actually put 40 rounds of 9mm and run it through the pistol.
Can I touch it?
Yes, absolutely.
I just...
Yeah, and so before you do that, let's go through this exercise.
Oh, okay, sure, yes.
All right, so this is a mock gun, so go ahead and pull that out of the holster. Now, do you know how to release the magazine?
I think, is there like a little...
Yes, there's a button there. Go ahead and release the magazine. There you go, so there's the magazine comes out.
So this is like an exact replica of...
It's a functional gun, and you have your finger in the trigger now.
Oh, and I should...
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that when you're...
Well, I was using that to... Okay, go ahead and put the magazine.
I just want to show, this is so... you release the magazine on this button here, like press like that, and please don't leave your finger in the trigger, because I got yelled at right there. I'm going to yell that.
Well, and now the question is, do you or do you not know if that is a loaded firearm?
Do I look in the chamber?
That's where you would look. So now here's the problem, right? First of all, this one doesn't have a chamber to look at, but what I wanted to do was introduce the three, there's actually 4 firearm safety rules.
Okay.
So always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Now, we're going to assume you know that's downrange. That's good.
Yeah,
you never
we're not pointing at
me.
you.
Yes, it is pointing at the camera.
At you,
but
at the camera.
That's right. You're only a camera at the moment, so it can't come. Bullets can't come through there. Always keep your finger off the trigger until ready to shoot. So you broke that one, but the gun did not go off.
Okay.
I actually handed you a loaded weapon just to see what would, could you, I was kind of hoping it would go off accidentally when you put your finger in there, but it would have been funny because it's a little plastic bullet.
Yeah.
And of course, no humans would be harmed. The last one is keep the gun unloaded until ready to use. So I handed you a loaded weapon. I asked you to bring the mag out, but there's still a round in there. And so what you're going to want to do now is rack it. So like this. Yeah, go ahead and pull back on that.
Like that?
Yep. Pull back on the slide all the way back.
Okay.
And then let it go. Yep. And what that can't do, if this were a real firearm, it would have unloaded the weapon. But you would have racked it and the round would have fallen out. It would have been extracted. But in this case, it can't do that because there's actually not. So you're going to have to shoot.
Wait. So do you mean like if I took this, like this whole thing, I took it out and then there happened to be a round in here and I did this, it would go bang?
No, that round would fall out onto the floor.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
what is the right way to do that?
Yeah, so that is, what you were doing was correct, right? You rack it back this way. What would normally happen is, if this were a real firearm, you would see there's a chamber there. The round would fall out as if it were a spent casing after you had fired the weapon. So in this case, you're going to have to shoot that round out, which means pointing the gun in a safe direction. If you were at a range, you would point it at the berm, and then you would pull the trigger and the round would expel.
Okay, so
go ahead and do that. You're going to point it at a safe direction.
Not at you.
No, downrange. Okay. He's pointing it into the berm.
And I'm doing this to discharge whatever is
Yeah, you want to clear the
here.
weapon. There you go. And there the round went out.
Well, something came. Wait, I thought this was a toy. So
it is a toy, but it has little 45 ACP plastic rounds.
Wait a minute. So why didn't that thing come out when I?
It's a design flaw in my opinion. There is no ejection port, so there's no way to.
So when I did this earlier, that secret surprise happy thing there should
it was still in there.
Come out.
Yes, if you if you were doing that with a real gun, don't point that at me. If you were doing that with a real gun,
I'm gonna be yelled at a lot, and that's
this?
probably gonna be part of the fun because you're gonna.
Yeah, there's no yelling. It's just a correction, we'll say.
Okay.
So that is racking the slide, and like I say, if there had been an ejection port, that round would have fallen out as if you had fired a live round out of a firearm. But in this case, it's a plastic gun. All it can do is load a round.
So do you mean that there are times when I do this, the round would always, if there's a round there, it will always come out, but there are times when it wouldn't?
Yeah, it can fail if you have an equipment malfunction, like your extractor is broken and you do this and the round doesn't come out.
That is kind of scary.
That can happen.
That's scary. So just remember that. This is newbie to newbie.
Yes.
If you do this and the round doesn't come out, please do not assume. Am I correct? Never assume that this thing is clear.
Yes.
Like, how would I find out though?
All right. Let's move on from this. Mm-hmm. And what I want to do is show you on the real gun because it's a little better visual. So this weapon. You'll notice my finger is always down the slide. That's just going to become normal for you. I will make sure that every time you handle a weapon, your finger stays out here until you're ready to shoot.
Like that?
Yeah, right down the barrel, because that way everybody can see you're not anywhere near the trigger, okay? And so and you'll notice when you go to clean your house and you pick up a Windex bottle, you'll keep your finger on it. When you go to squirt anything, your finger will do that. After a while, it will become second nature, and that's how you'll handle everything.
Okay.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, this weapon has a trigger guard on it. This is just a piece of Kydex. It's molded plastic, and they heat it and they stamp it on here so that it fits this trigger, and it's meant to deploy quickly. All right, so some people will use this as a holster. They'll keep the gun in their pocket or in their purse or whatever, and they'll have this tied to something else, and when they pull the gun out, boom, the trigger is now free, okay? So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is I'm going to release the slide, and I'm just going to pull back a little bit and let the slide go. That's what you would do if you were attempting to load the weapon. If you wanted to load a round, you would put the magazine in, pull the slide back, and let it fly. Let it go forward. Okay. Now this weapon can't be loaded because I think you can see it, there's a bright orange plastic in there. This is called barrel block. It's a little piece of plastic that all it does is it proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that you can't chamber a round right now because the chamber is full. So what you said earlier is crucial and very important. If you, let's say someone handed you a weapon, the first thing you normally do is take the mag out.
Take the mag out.
Always take the mag out first, because a lot of people leave the mag in, they rack the slide, and all it does is put another round in. So first things first, you take the mag out.
Take the mag out.
Yeah. So somebody hands you this weapon. I'm going to let you do that. So I handed you that weapon.
Okay.
Fingers down the slide. Down. Yep, that's the perfect.
Okay.
So now you're going to release the magazine. Same as you did on the other gun. You can use your right thumb. And it's that little button right by the trigger.
Right here?
No, right down there. Same as it was on the other gun.
Where, here?
Yep, that's the magazine release. So you push that button, the magazine falls out, okay?
Well, I used my index, or the correct was to use my thumb?
Typically you do use your thumb, yeah.
Okay. Well.
And so, but whatever gets it done is what gets it done. So we're gonna leave that out for the moment. Okay. Now you wanna say, I need to rack it back and make sure there's no projectile, there's no bullet or cartridge in there.
And what's the correct way to hold?
So what you're doing is exactly like that, and then you're kind of pushing and pulling at the same time.
Pushing and pulling?
Yep.
Well, I'm pushing now, and then I pull back.
Yeah, let me follow along with you here. So this firearm is in the same condition. It has the barrel block in it, and I'm going to take the mag out, and then what you're going to do is push with your right hand, pull with your left hand.
Push with my right hand. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so you're kind of doing this.
Okay. Jeez, this is hard to pull back.
It can be, but not when you get the hang of it, when you realize where the pressure points are. So you want to have your hand here and your hand here. You notice there's serrations on the slide.
Yeah.
So you can get a good grip.
Okay.
And now if you pull it back far enough, it should, and then you push up on this thing, it should lock for you.
So when I pull it back, should it be facing this way?
Yeah, you always want to keep it away from you, right? Pointing, and if there's anybody else around, if you ever happen to be, somewhere, you would be doing it like so or like so up in the sky.
So I'm pulling it back.
And then there's a little lever right here. If you can reach that with your right thumb. Yeah, that is hard to do if you're not ready to do it. Here, let me show you how it's done. So what we're looking for here, you have your hand like so, and then you got to get a little upward pressure on that. So when you push that and then you push up with the thumb, it will lock it. Okay? And then it'll unlock when you do that.
Right.
So you're gonna be prepared to push a little upward pressure. Yeah, push back. There you go. And now you got it locked. Perfect. Now you can inspect the weapon, ensure there's nothing in the chamber. You can see visibly. Most people encourage you to feel in there because it's dark and black. And, if you don't have the barrel block in there, you can't really positively know unless you put your finger in and feel it. Now, of course, your finger's going to get dirty when you do that.
Sure.
But that is now a cleared weapon. You now have a weapon that is inert. It can't hurt anybody unless you hit them with it.
Do you look into?
Definitely. Yeah, you want to visually and physically inspect the weapon. So you're completely clear, as is this one. Okay?
Okay.
And then the inverse of that, the way you would load the weapon is you would take the magazine. Of course, we have no rounds in here, but go ahead and take your mag. And then the way it's typically done is your finger is up here, your gun is in hand, and you just kind of go up and pop it till it's...
My finger is here.
Your index finger just kind of guides it, and then you're going to release, push it all the way up, and then you can pop it on the bottom. Yep, now you're in. And then what you would do is either push this lever down, which can be difficult on some guns, or you're going to pull what they call slingshot, pull back, and let it go. So you pull back.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So I just put the magazine in with rounds.
Yes.
And you want me to pull back? Won't it discharge?
No. No, if you have your finger in the trigger again, so I'm going to yell at you again.
Okay.
So here's why we keep the finger out of the trigger. Yeah. Not only you don't want to, but if you have your finger in the trigger like this and you pull back, there's a real good chance the gun's going to jump and you're going to pull the trigger.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why you keep your finger way out here.
Okay.
And then when you're doing this kind of thing, right? When you're releasing the slide, you can do it that way with the lever. All I did was swipe that, or you can slingshot it and let it go.
Okay.
Or the last is you can pull back like this, and you hear that click. That means it's free. The most important thing of this is you always let it fly. When I say let it fly, I mean that. I mean, when you pull it back, just let it go. You're not going to hurt the gun, but you want it to be able to carry forward and pull around up out of the magazine. So should I do that? Yeah, go ahead and just pull it back a little bit, and then you felt the click, but you kind of rode the slide, they call it. You rode the slide. So when you feel that click, then you let it go and let the springs do their work. So let's try it again. Go ahead and pull it back and lock the slide.
Well, do you want me to remove the...
No, we're just going to chamber another round now.
Okay.
If you had rounds in there. So you're going to pull it back. Remember to push hard with your right and pull back. Yep. And then the thumb works that lever. Just got to get it just a little catch.
Okay. I'm clearly not going to be... This will not be my pistol of choice.
Well, it's your technique right now. So you'll notice when you're struggling like that, it's because your leverage is out here, and what you really want to do is push from your right hand.
Push from my right hand, gotcha. Yeah, and you forgot to yell at me because my finger was...
Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah, so that's important. Good catch. Yep, good catch.
Okay, well, now that I got this thing, so just pull it back and let it go.
Yeah, that's what you would do. And I like to slingshot it. Some people say don't.
Do I do it like that or like that?
Your call. Yeah, your call. I don't like to go over the gun if I don't have to, because if I build that... Go ahead and let it go. Yeah, there you go. That's nice. So now you've got a round in there if you had rounds in the mag.
Let me try to do this again, because this is like a bit of a workout. This is like, I either have very... Why is it so hard? It's like stringing a bow.
Well, let me show you. If you do...
Oh, wait, you said to push with mine.
Yes.
So maybe I should start from here.
So the two are going opposite each other, and that doubles your effort.
Like a very weak...
Yeah, and you've got to be ready on that slide, right? So, for example, on that slide when you're back, so when you do that, you got to be ready to pop it so that it'll stay in put.
I'm already feeling like this may not be the type of pistol for me.
Let's try this guy, the little tiny guy. So this... Let's
try the little tiny guy. Okay.
Yeah, let's see if that works.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go. I'm gonna give you that, and I'm gonna give you the magazine. I have cleared the weapon.
Well, who usually typically gets a little gun like that?
Well, we haven't even talked about why the different sizes yet. Okay. So let's just see if you can rack this one more comfortably. So you're gonna keep your finger down the slide.
Down the slide.
And then you're gonna put the mag in. There you go. Now you're gonna try and rack it.
Now, is this the same thing here with the...
That is the slide stop, yes. So you're going to pull it back.
I think I just need to...
Little pull, and you'll feel it give. So the trick is have your thumb ready to go, and when you get it back...
My thumb is ready to go.
Yep. And you just have to get it past that point of no return there.
Okay, now this is interesting because I find that it's so short, I can't even get...
Yeah, there you go. Give it. So now what you're discovering is that micro guns are very difficult to manipulate.
Yes, I would think that it would be...
Yeah, so easy. That's the way I do it.
It's almost like yeah.
I have I can't hold the gun properly and do that. I have to be able... If I have my firearm like that, you can see all I can get is 2 fingers on it. The pinky's got nowhere to go. And all I can do is change my grip, and then when I pull back, I have to pop it up. Now, what you're struggling with when you see him doing that, when you see the Elvis shakes, I call it, right, with your hand, what that is, it's just a lack of leverage. You haven't quite gotten the concept of jamming forward with your hand and then pulling back. See, I can do that and hold it all day like that because the two are working in opposition. You're trying to do this. You're trying to pull it back, but you're not giving it enough forward momentum.
So they have to work.
Yeah, they got to work opposite each other.
But then the thing is, I won't be able to reach.
That's the challenge, right? So what I did
what's versus me doing like that?
Well, now you've switched to your weak hand. If you're right-handed, you've switched. Now the weapon is in control of your weak hand. So
see, I think I'll be able to do this, but I won't be able to reach this one because it's so
that's
small.
what I was having to do. Is I had to flip my hand around.
Okay, I got it.
Yep. Yeah. So now you're getting it. Now you're understanding if the two work in concert, you don't have to fight it so hard.
So I got the motion now, but it's so short I can't reach the thing. I can't feel it.
Yeah, so that's why. Let me show you the button has to be. I have to get my hand like that. I have to be way back there to do it, right? To get all the way back, and that's awkward. That's why. So what you're dealing with here is a micro. Let's just have the conversation about size. Size matters.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
So what we're dealing with here, this one is called compact. There are actually what's called a full-size gun, which is quite a bit bigger, like a 1911 or some other types of guns are considered full-size. This is compact. This one is called subcompact. And this one is called micro. Some people call them mouse guns. Okay? So a compact feels natural in an adult hand. It feels. My wife prefers this. This is her gun. She likes a good, solid, heavy gun that is going to absorb a lot of recoil. It's actually easier to manipulate this slide
I'm
than
surprised.
it is this one.
So I met your wife. She is smaller and more slight than me, but she could manage this. So that gives me hope that
you can
handle this.
Now that you know, try this one again. Now that you know about the opposing forces.
Can I just do the motion and not try to do this?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yep. Slingshot, or if you're going to do it that way, So and then try it this way and see if you can. So if you're pushing with your right,
how far?
I keep it up close here, and then I've got
that?
much more. Yeah, I've got much more leverage.
So this is more comfortable now than I tried to start out earlier for some reason.
Yep.
So it's
and now
just
you
a
can
matter. So
and
I
once,
just have to find my thumb there. Okay.
Yep. There you go. You got it.
Is it as simple? Why is it so hard?
It's just got to be a little click up when you're all the way back.
It's a click up?
Yep. Click up when you're all the way back.
So I'm comfortable with the motion now, but I can't get the thing to click up.
Yeah, that just takes. You do this a couple thousand times, and it'll become second nature to you.
It's quite a workout.
Yeah.
Beats the treadmill, actually.
Well, and these springs, okay, you have to remember, the springs in here are designed to handle the recoil of a 9mm round.
Got it.
And so that's what's happening when you fire a round. This is exactly what's happening, right? So you've got the gun here, it's ready to go. You pull the trigger, and what happens is the explosion happens here, the projectile comes out, and then this actually does rack back. And when it does, the casing gets thrown out to the side. That's called your extraction and your ejection. So that comes back, and then the gun cycles and goes. So when it happens instantaneously, right? Bang, the slide goes, and there's another round right there. So you can fire as fast as you want, and this thing can keep up. That's why those springs have to be so stiff.
Okay. So can I do this thing where I let it go?
Yeah. Yep. Slingshot it and let it go. There you go.
This is where.
That's the one. Yep. That's your
your
slide
thumb
lock.
would be, and you just slide it up.
Just a little bit up. Yeah. Just enough to make that catch. There you go. You got it. Well done.
And
Slingshot and let her go.
So this is actually harder to pull back than that one.
That's because it's a smaller gun with a tighter recoil spring.
Interesting.
It has more recoil to manage than the bigger one.
Just because a gun is smaller doesn't mean it's easier to handle.
100%.
That's an interesting. That's something to note, because I guess because it's more compact and therefore there's just more.
Yeah, everything. It has to handle the same forces with less mass. So it has to have a stronger recoil spring.
So I'm finding out now that this is actually harder.
Yeah. So now you don't like Springfield Armory either.
When you were laying out these three here, I was in the impression I was already looking. Yeah, this little guy's for me. This little guy's for me. But it turned out that actually my preference is for this, just because I feel like I have more leverage with this.
100%. So let's go through why that is. All right. So these three: compact, subcompact, micro. This gun has the advantages: capacity, much higher capacity, more weight, so it'll handle recoil better. And you'll notice the distance between the sights is much longer than the other two. The more sight radius you have, right? So you have two sights in the back, one in the front. The more distance between there, the more accurate you will be. You also have a longer barrel. This is 4 1/4 inches. So the gases have a chance to expel the bullet longer.
Yeah.
Goes faster, goes more stable. This is going to be in the middle of those two. It's going to have more recoil. This is very snappy. This gun, when you fire this gun, it's bang, bang, and you have to really hold on to it. It wants to jump out of your hand. This one is chambered in 380, which is a softer round. Doesn't have as much what they call stopping power, but it's a much smaller gun. So it's very difficult to get a good grip. It's very difficult to manipulate the controls. You see, I have to go all the way around back to this one. This is harder to get to. So this one, you would think, based on what I just said, oh, forget these two, just go with this one. Well, try to put this under a t-shirt when you're wearing shorts and flip-flops.
I was thinking the same thing. These are great for conceal, but this is much, quote unquote, easier to operate, at least in my opinion.
Almost everybody believes the same thing. Once you get it to the range,
well, I think
these are the bigger guns are easier to operate. Their recoil is less. The capacity is higher, but the trade-off is they're harder to conceal. So I can throw this in my pocket behind my cell phone. No one knows the wiser, right? I can put this on my belly, on my hip, on my appendix, and that's much easier to conceal than this one, which you can see is quite a bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
So everything in concealment is about how far these stick out. So for example, this is an 11 round mag. Here's a 13 round, okay? So that sticks out a little further. And then here's a 15 round mag, okay? So now I've got 15 rounds plus one in the chamber. That's 16 rounds. This one has 17 rounds plus one in the chamber. I've got almost the same capacity here. But this one now is about the same length, almost, as that one. So it's all trade-offs. How much capacity do you want? And so what I do is I carry this, the small 11 round, what they call the flush mag. That way this doesn't stick out when it's on my waist or my appendix. This doesn't stick out. And then I keep these on a belt as a spare, and I've solved the capacity problem.
So based on my playing around with these here, I was thinking like in a DEFCON 4 situation, wouldn't you be? This is just more.
Absolutely. If you're going to buy a gun for home defense and you're going to just keep it on your nightstand or in your closet, there's no reason to buy tiny, right? Because these are easier to shoot, easier to manipulate, more accurate.
So can I just go through this motion again? This motion, this. You see, so for the audience watching, I can do this relatively easy now with this larger one than I could with the smaller ones.
Correct.
They're just more.
The strings are stiffer.
Yeah, it's like trying to string a bow, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I want to point out is on here. So you'll notice I can manipulate this like you were trying to do with my thumb more or less parallel down the slide. But I can't do that on this little gun. I have to change my position to be able to rack that. I have to be able to get my thumb over to that point, because if I try to do it this way, I'll do exactly what you were struggling with, where it's just, you just can't, there's nothing to get that button where it needs to go. But if I do this, now when my thumb is this way, this is a horrible way to hold the gun, right? The only time I would do that is when I'm trying to lock the slide back. But that's the way I have to do it on the little guns.
Okay. I presume that this is what you take around for your conceal?
It depends. It's all situational. Yeah. So I call this my winter gun because in the winter, if you're wearing a jacket, This is easily concealed, right? If you've got a baggy sweater on, no worries. You can. I will always choose the bigger gun depending on what my condition is. This is my most common gun in Florida because it goes in the belly band. It goes under t-shirts. You know, as long as you don't have a tight shirt. This one I'll throw in the pocket when I don't have the opportunity to put on the belly band.
Yeah, but like I said, I think I am really kind of veering towards this right now because in a DevCore, I'm going to say so a DEFCON 4 situation, time is of the essence too. If it was me, I think, you know, the zombies would have taken the bite out of me by then with these two than with this one.
Well, what I would also add is most people, myself included, start with a gun like this. They'll start with a full-size or a compact gun. They'll get comfortable with it. Once you've done this a couple thousand times, you can do it with these easy, right? But you have to do it a couple thousand times. So I started with this gun. This is Lisa's first gun. We had this gun for a year before we bought another gun. We just used this at the range. We practiced. We have these things called snap caps. They're little inert gun 9mm cartridges, and you practice loading and unloading the magazines. You practice loading and unloading the firearm. You can do it while you're watching TV.
Okay, so I guess is it too early to ask how much this is?
These are going to be. You'd be surprised, right? These are going to run $400 to $1,000 for a regular compact. These guys can be in the same price range because when it's smaller, they actually don't go down in price much. This one is actually only $350, I think $320. So the little ones, the 380s, are less metal because they don't have to control a 9mm explosion. But these guys are $500-600, and these guys up to $1,000. But you can buy a cheaper one. There's lots of them that are $300 or $400 in any of these sizes.
Okay.
You know what it feels like. Now you just got to practice getting that motion on the
let go.
Yep. There you go. I like it.
Okay, are we? I think we covered a lot for a newbie.
We did. When we get to the range, I'll show you how to properly hold the gun, fire the gun. We'll do all of that. Right now, we're just talking about basics, how to clear things.
So I know you're going to talk about that over there, upholstery, but maybe we could save that for another time because I think we.
Well, so what we have covered here is the size differences. So then we'll cover later is holsters. And I just want to say, as a teaser, you can carry on your ankle. You can carry all around your waist. Some people carry under their arms. Some people carry in a purse, fanny pack. There's a lot of different ways to carry a gun. Obviously, the size makes a big factor in there.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. So this is the next segment will be us at the range and going actual pew pew pew. So
what you're going to feel is what I mentioned. The recoil will be very different in these three guns. You're going to have a very different experience when they go bang.
Yes, when they go bang, and maybe I scream a little. Ah.
What we don't want to do is drop the gun when you're screaming.
Yeah. So are you terrified of bringing me to the range based on my?
No, not at all. No, we'll keep you safe.
Okay, I just got to always remember. Finger off the trigger.
Yep.
Always to the side. Okay.
Down the slide. Yep.
Down the side. Is it down the side or on the side?
Down the slide.
Down the slide.
This is the slide, so you want your finger up here on the slide.
Okay, on the slide.
That way, if it's dead straight and it's up here, you can't accidentally discharge the weapon.
Down the slide. Okay, and then.
And let me just get on my soapbox for 1 minute. For anyone considering purchasing a gun. You'll notice not one of these guns has an external safety. This plastic one here has a pretend external safety, but what most people new to guns say is, oh, I'm buying a gun, I'll get an external safety. When I click that, a gun can't go off. Yes, that's true, but when you want to deploy the gun very, very quickly, you have to remember to undo the safety, and you can get caught. It can get caught in your clothing. So I personally do not advocate buying a gun with an external safety. All of these guns, I think, are offered with or without an external safety. My suggestion is learn to use the gun properly, pair it with a good proper fitting holster with retention that protects the trigger, and you'll be every bit as safe, and you'll have a much better experience deploying and using the gun.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for this this intro, and the next segment will be us at the creating fireworks at the range. And
there you go.
So on behalf of Perseus and
Six Watcher
and
the unnamed Gnomes.
yes, put down in the comments.
We need names for gnomes.
Yes, we'll see you at the range. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What you can't explain is coming back again. I can see it now, I can see it now. What you can't explain, coming back again. I know, the time is here to waste. I can't explain the look that's on your face.